Has a blueprint been found on Avonte Maddox? That's going to be the discussion today because there's been two guys that have saved the Eagles season in terms of the secondary, Avonte Maddox and Crayvon LeBlanc. They've been unbelievable, but Avonte got beat a couple times on Sunday. Is that going to hinder him now moving forward? Brendan Albert is here. I am Adrian Fedque. It's going to be an interesting film study today.
It is, and I'm playing at like 70%. I'm just getting over the flu, so that's why I look like an extra in Castaway right now. So I appreciate you guys hanging with me today.
Well, I'm so glad that you let me know that, because now I feel bad for inviting you on, and I had no idea you had the flu, and trying to bear through these tough times. I'm sorry, Brendan.
It's all good, man. It's just that time of the year. It's playoff football though, so everyone's playing hurt.
That's true. There you go. All right, so we're going to start with the bad stuff right away. He was outstanding in the first half, almost had an interception. But in the fourth quarter, they started doing the double moves on him. And, this is kind of a problem for some other cornerbacks on the team, Jalen Mills and Ronald Darby. But this was how they were beating him on Sunday. And that Drew Brees, Sean Payton, they're now looking at that tape.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this before we started, Adrian. We both said the same thing. We're like, there's really three quarterbacks that you really don't want to have a bad week against and show any weakness before you play them. Rodgers, Brady's, Brees. And like the unfortunate thing is if you ask me which one would I least want, I would say it's Brees because he has Sean Payton too. So it's like double trouble there. But that said, I mean, look, it is what it is. To be honest with you, if you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you're just thrilled to advance, right? Like, you could care less who we're playing right now. Right now, you're just thrilled to keep moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see if they can kind of get over this, and we'll get into some more things as we get into the plays. So he's in zone on this play. 9:54 left in the game. We're going to see back-to-back plays here where he gets beat. Josh Bellamy beats him deep while he's in zone. So we're going to look at this play.
Yeah, let's go ahead and share my screen. So you should be all good now, right?
Yep.
All right, so let's go. Shoot. Get to remind myself. Close that. Ooh, there we go. Okay.
By the way, this is the famed Chicago All-22, where it's not really All-22.
I mean, this is the problem, and like, this is the problem that you get into, like, when you talk about old stadiums. Like, people are like, oh, it's majestic, it's historic. Like, yeah, I get that, but like, same thing. Like, I feel the same thing about Wrigley and like Fenway. Maybe I'm just a hater, but like, after the first 15 minutes, I'm like, this place is actually a dump. Like, it's old. Like, but anyway.
Well, Soldier Field isn't like ancient and historic, like, say, Fenway Park or like Wrigley Field. It's just Soldier Field,
If I believe correctly, it's one of the oldest in the NFL, but the renovation is just, it's like putting lipstick on a pig when you try to do renovations with old stadium. It's still a pig in the end of it.
Yeah. All right, anyway, people don't care about our stadium talk. So let's get into Avonte Maddox talk here. What's going on? So what happened on this play, Brendan?
When we look at this, it starts off as a 3-by-1 set. So we got trips here. Maddox sees the outside receiver. And this is really just window dressing. All this is. So all you're going to see here, guys, is the motion. And the motion really does its job. The motion now makes, Maddox think, okay, well, hey, I got to slide in a little bit more because it's still a 3-by-1 set. But now the outside most receiver isn't Tariq Cohen. It's now a receiver. So it does exactly what they want. Because Maddox slides in, it opens up more window here towards the sideline for a better passing window. So what we're going to see here, we're going to see a wheel come from the number 2 receiver. And you can tell right away, Maddox just didn't feel him. Maddox didn't feel him. He plays Robinson. He comes in too much. And then, honestly, this is just easy money. This is as easy as you can get here. It's like, you'll see this on the other angle. If you guys are basketball fans, think about like a 2-on-1 fast break when you're the one-man back. When you get a situation like this, you have to play the middle. But because that Maddox, comes in so far to the middle, he's giving away the outside. He has to remember that he has safety help over the inside, so he has to take away the outside threat. Pitch and catch, very, very simple, but it's the window dressing that messes Maddox up. And the truth is, when you go play Sean Payton and Drew Brees, they're going to window dress everything. Every play is going to look all fancy and pretty and motions and shifts and all that type of junk, but it's just going to be simple football in the end. So if you're getting messed up pre-snap, you're going to be in a world of trouble when the snap actually happens.
And there's not really much you can do in a week to really fix this.
This is a little bit concerning. I mean, look, let's call it what it is. He was a late round draft pick. I mean, it's not like he's a first round draft pick. He was a late round guy.
Look, he's been unbelievable this year, so I don't want this to like sound like it's we're bashing him, because we're not. He's been like as great as you can imagine. He's been unbelievable, but it just sucks that at the wrong time here. There's now a little bit of a blueprint. There's some tape out there, and the Saints are now going to attack this, because the Eagles, they kind of had a little bit of an advantage here. You had these no-name secondary guys who were playing out of their minds. So there's not really tape on those guys. But now, we're seeing this little weakness here. The Saints are definitely going to pick up on this.
No doubt about it. I mean, when you draft a guy in the late rounds and he becomes a starter for you, it's like found money, right? Like you're thrilled. But so like you're not really going to knock him. The unfortunate thing is in the playoffs, if he's supposedly your best or your second best corner against Drew Brees and Sean Payton, that's probably not great.
Yeah. So one of the things in college where he really struggled, the closer he played to the line, the worse he was, because you can kind of just beat him right off the line. And if you beat him right off the line, you can make him look real stupid. And that's exactly what Allen Robinson did on this play.
Yeah, so that's exactly what we talked about when we were doing evaluations of him. He was someone who was not great in physical situations. And what you'll see here, at the top of the screen here, guys, what I want you to do, I'm going to go slow-mo here. Hopefully I clicked it.
Yeah.
Watch his hands. His hands never get close to his chest. His hands are always going to be down and away. Now, I'm not saying you have to.
He's not even initiating contact at all.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like you have to press. But the thing is if you are lining up this tight and you have single high safety over the top, you have no outside help. So if the receiver gets an outside clean release, like he's going to here, you have to at least have your hands ready to at least try to reroute him, or if nothing else, get him a little bit off his balance to give yourself some time to get better vertical push. And he doesn't do that because his hands are down in his pockets. And as we'll see here, it's a free release. By the time he gets his hand on him there, it's too late. Now, this is what drives me absolutely nuts on this specific play. This is not a good route. It's a double move here. But as we're going to kind of look, and I'll go back here, Robinson's not really looking back for the football. I mean, he's on the near side of the field. So any type of out route in press coverage is stupid. Like there's no reason a NFL receiver or an NFL quarterback would run an out route in press coverage to short side of the field because he knows the corner's already in his hip pocket. So it's almost like an 80% chance this is a double move, 20% chance this is an out route. And what drives you nuts about this is the play exactly after we gave up that big vertical play. So my assumption here is what Avonte Maddox is thinking is, shit, I just got beat. I'm going to go try to make a play for my team. And all he does now is give away more yardage.
Yeah, and we're going to see he gets beat pretty bad. But, that was the thing. It's like his aggressiveness is what led to some big plays for the Eagles. But now his aggressiveness is starting to get the better of him.
Well, Adrian, you and me talked about this about Dory Jackson, when we were talking about
the casino corner.
The casino corners, right? Like, hey, sometimes you hit it big, sometimes the house wins. The house is going to win more often than not. So, and I want to go back and I want to replay this one.
Yeah.
Really full here so you guys don't need to see the extra point. 1 second here. Sorry about this, guys.
Oh, actually, by the way, we could show this because this is awesome. Look at all the motion and the window dressing here.
All the window dressing.
Motion. Dude, I love this 2-point play.
It's all window dressing.
It's all window dressing. It was just a simple handoff at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's Adrian. It's no different than like what you and me talked about, like sleight of hand stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
All right, here we go.
Well, that's Doug Peterson right there. That's a Doug Peterson influence and Andy Reid.
This is why you're seeing all these NFL head coaches are becoming, offensive background guys. But again, look at this. This is not a good route. Like Robinson never looks back, and Maddox jumps it for no reason. Like, the odds of this being an actual out route is extremely slim. Again, if the ball was on the left hash and the corner was playing off, okay, there's probably a better window. But because the ball's in the right hash and we know the corner's on top of him, there's no window for the quarterback. So it's extremely unlikely that he's actually going to throw the out route here.
And there's a point to be made, too, about physicality at the line of scrimmage with the corners. That was the blueprint laid upon by the Cowboys on the Saints. Physical press coverage by Byron Jones on Michael Thomas all game. Eagles are not going to be able to do that sort of deal. So they play off. Avonte Maddox is better than off. Maybe Rasul Douglas can press a little bit, but I'm sure after seeing this tape, they're going to put Michael Thomas on Avonte.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot of stuff, different types of motions and stuff for the Saints to try to get the switch pre-snap, and then they can kind of do what they want to do. So I would expect to probably see Thomas a little bit more off the ball in the slot. So it's because it's easier for him to motion, opposed to if he's on the ball, so receiver has to reset, then he can go into motion. So it's more of a addressing. So I would probably expect Thomas is probably going to see a little more in the slot, so to get more free releases.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't see a guy who really would scare me as far as pressing me if I'm Michael Thomas or if I'm Sean Payton.
Yeah. All right, so late in the game, we're going to go look at one more bad play before we look at the good stuff in the first half. So Allen Robinson gets a deep ball down the right sideline. This sets the Bears up into field goal range, but the kick was blocked. Double doink. We know the outcome by now. But this play, again, Avonte gets beat. But this play, we don't really look at this down upon it as the other two. And you're going to explain why.
This one's a little bit different. So let's go back and we got to talk about situations here. So we got second and long, okay, and I think there's 44 seconds. Yeah, 44 seconds here on the clock. All right. So we know that we're going to play too high. I mean, we know that this is not going to be a run play. We got two high safeties.
Yep.
We're in our nickel package. We're in a great spot here. So I know if I'm the corner, where's my help? Well, my help is pretty much in between the numbers and the hash. That's where my help is going to be. I'm going to be responsible from the numbers to the sideline. But as we kind of take a peek here, we get put into what's called a China or smash situation. Smash, China, the same thing. It's a two-man combination. And the two-man in this combination is going to be the number one receiver and then the number two receiver. The number two receiver in the situation is going to be the back. So we're going to see a corner route. So he's going to run about 10 to 12 yards, then hit the corner. Then we're going to see an underneath route. And this is perfect for this type of situations because you have two options here to try to make a completion, get the ball out of bounds. So China or smash. But what we see here, guys, is it's a high-low read.
Yep.
So this puts us really in a no-win situation because we know we always want to take away the vertical stuff, make them throw the ball short. Well, then we know that this is a good spot. Now, here's the problem. If you're the safety up top here, you have no threat in the middle of the field. There's no threat for you here. The only threat is this receiver.
Yeah.
So because of that, this I blame more on the safety.
And that's
because
Corey Graham. Corey Graham's going to get there.
Yeah, 20 yards away, and then we take a shit angle.
Yeah, no, I was about to say that. That's a terrible angle. Are you serious?
It's a shit angle.
You got an angle right towards the receiver.
It's an absolutely poor angle. So, I mean, Maddox does as good of a job as you can get here as far as getting in the window.
This is a great pause right here. You can see right there. Look where Corey Graham is going, and look where the ball is.
Maddox is going to do a great job here of being in the window. And look, as far as a corner, I did my job. I made the window as small as possible, and it's a good throw. But you know what? Truthfully, again, look at the middle of the field. There's no threat. There was never a threat here from me as the safety.
And for Corey Graham, you got to think too, because they want to throw to the sideline to stop the clock. What is Corey Graham doing here?
No doubt about it. So yes, on the lamest terms, a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, Maddox, let the ball get over your head." While that's true, he should have help over the top. Yeah. And it's a shit angle, so I don't blame Maddox in this play at all either.
But you know what? In a couple other high-low situations, he did a great job.
Yeah, I mean, look, he makes that awesome interception. I think it was against the Los Angeles Rams, in almost an identical situation. So it's not like this is some type of foreign concept. He plays it really well here. He does get help on his safeties. Yep.
All right. So actually, I was about to say we're going to look at good stuff, but actually this is a bad play in the first quarter here. So this is another situation here where he plays closer to the line, and he gets beat.
I mean, I think the good takeaway from this situation, Adrian, is I don't think Maddox's future is going to be playing tight. I think his future is always going to be playing off,
Oh
honestly.
yes. Oh yeah. That's very evident.
So that said, he's playing on the line because of lack of options. I mean, just because of
Yes.
injuries and everything. So look, like this is one of those things where it just more confirms his best skill set is off the ball. His best ability is burst, and we'll show some plays later when you can see that. But again, as we get closer to the ball, not awesome.
He just Yeah, he just kind of he's too small when you get closer to the ball.
There's two things here. I think his best ability is read and react opposed to pedaling with even speed. When I
Completely
say
agree.
pedaling with even speed here, when we look at this, I'll go slow mo here. When we look at this, his speed needs to match, and you can see right off the line we lose. Now we start to turn, and you can see how
Yeah,
as
he's
soon as we
done.
turn our hips, it's
Yep.
over. It's 100% over for us, especially when we have a bigger receiver for us. There's now a bigger reception zone for us, and then again, we're the little guy and the mouse in the house. And then it becomes like putting a rebound up when you're a point guard and a power forward. Power forward's gonna get the rebound every time.
Yep. And being able to read and react, I mean, Jim Schwartz said it in his press conference how Avonte Maddox is the Johnny on the spot. Well, being able to read and react, that's how you play and be Johnny on the spot.
Yeah. Again, his ability is much more valuable off the ball than on the ball. Where his struggles and where you get frustrated as a fan is when he's on the ball. But again, he's only playing on the ball right now because of injuries and lack of better options right now in the Eagles at this point in the season.
All right, so let's talk about the strengths and what he does really well. And, the near interception, that would have been huge if he could have gotten that and finished that play. But this is an example of what you talked about, the burst that he possesses. And this is a great play, I thought, by Avante.
Yeah. Again, let's talk about situational football. Second and long here. All right. We know the ball is now more towards the middle of the field. So yeah, an out route, very, very likely. And I'm off. For a lot of offenses, they'll call this free access. Is if they get situation where they get off coverage, they'll pretty much give like one of these, and it might be take quick out. All right, quick out. We'll just bang this one right underneath them. But again, we talk about where's Maddox so successful? His read and burst. His read and
Yeah.
burst here is really special. In this situation, doesn't really have to pedal, and then boom, he's able to get right to the near hit, get underneath the throwing lane, and be able to attack the football. It also helps a lot here when we don't have any threat, and we can see here the safety does a much better job at being in a better angle to
Mm.
take away anything over the top. So again, if I'm Maddox, I'm probably a little more comfortable if the guy behind me is not named Corey Graham. So just me.
But you can see how much ground he covers in such a little amount of time. Just gets there so quick.
And
Oh,
I think the most impressive thing about this play, Adrian, let me go back and talk about this. Not just how sharp his angle is to the
mhm.
football here, but how much ground he gets up here as
Yeah.
well. Obviously, great ball
He
skills.
got 5 yards there. He
Here's my
covered
favorite
five
thing. Where's
yards.
Big Haloti? There's Big Haloti. He's telling him which way the football's going. Love it.
I love that. But that right there is the epitome of Avonte Maddox. That's him in a nutshell. Being able to close that quick. That's what he's all about.
Hmm.
So, all right, one more play we're going to look at. This is deep coverage. So Allen Robinson tries to get deep on him, and that didn't happen. So if I remember this play correctly, I think he pretty much steered him to the sideline, if I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, third and long, so we know what we got here. Okay, we're in a spin down look here by the safety, so we know we have help over the slot, so we're the deepest in the deep. And we do a great job here of just getting hip to hip with them. The only thing I would, and maybe if we're critical, right? Like we're always talking about what we improve on. When we watch
Yeah.
film. When anyone watches film, it's never like, oh, perfect, you're amazing. It's always like, hey, how can we improve? The
Mm-hmm.
one small thing that we would like to see him improve on, and we'll see it when he gets to the top of his route and he gets hip to hip here. Well, for receiver, again, especially because he's going to be the little guy,
Mm-hmm.
you would like to see him here, Adrian, really about here's a good angle. You kind of can see him at the top of the screen.
Yeah.
You want to see him get a little bit tighter to that
Yep.
hip and
Yep.
then start to lean on him to force that receiver out of bounds. Two things. It forces the receiver out of bounds. That's the easy thing to see. The other thing to see, I want most people to do, most people can't do this. Even NFL guys can't do this. If you stand and you don't have your weight underneath you, what I mean by that is stand and then intentionally lean and now try to jump. It's
Mm.
very, very, very difficult. And if you do, your vertical will pretty much be cut in half. Well, if you're leaning on the receiver and forcing his body to be like this, he doesn't have the ability to attack the ball at its highest point. And again, if you're Maddox, you're never going to be the biggest cat on the field. So you got to do all the little things to help ensure that this receiver can't elevate and attack the football.
It's a great point. That's why you're on the show. It's great stuff right there. So, looking at that pause here and, kind of the ball, Trubisky could have thrown a little bit better of a ball here too.
Yeah, probably. I mean, woulda, coulda, shoulda kind of thing. But, yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, if that ball's a little more in front of him, probably a little better situation. But, yeah.
So there you go. All right. That's the tape on Avonte Maddox. I mean, I guess we could have looked at some Cravon LeBlanc as well, but I wanted to focus on Avonte because I was really curious on your thoughts about, he got beat on a couple plays. The tape could be out, and you're saying, oh, no. So I don't like hearing that.
I mean, I think it's just a tough matchup. Like I said, this is a tough matchup. But, again, if you're the Eagles, you could give a shit at this point. You're just happy to be playing, truthfully.
Yep. So maybe the correction could be, all right, hey, Corey Graham, you better get your ass over there, over the top. So, maybe Avonte could get beat a couple times, but if he gets some better safety play, that's how you help him out.
And it's tough because as much as we talk about the Saints throwing the ball over the field, they're still a run-first physical football team. So, when you look at your safety, you say, all right, who's a better tackler? It's obviously Malcolm. So you want to put Malcolm closer to the box, which unfortunately then puts Corey Graham more in coverage situations. So this is just like a tough scheme and a system, but it is what it is. I mean, again, you can't do anything about it. You're just thrilled to be playing at this point in time in the season.
Yeah. Well, I will share you these numbers before we depart. So the Saints, since that Philly game in Week 11, averaging 22.4 points per game, as opposed to 37.5 after that Philly game. So I excluded the Week 17 game. I didn't include that in my totals. Meaningless game. So 22.4 points per game. Are you noticing what's going on there in New Orleans? Did Dallas really lay a blueprint? The physicality with the corners, having the speedy linebackers to chase Kamara. Did they do something?
Yeah, I mean, you're certainly right there, Adrian. I mean, when you look at that, I think Dallas's defense is very underrated, especially with how good their defensive backs are, that they can do a lot of different things. So you're right. I think the other thing we also have to kind of be honest with ourselves. Like, they did pretty well against the Bucs, as they should.
Yeah.
And they did pretty well against the Saints, or excuse me, against the Steelers, which they should. They really shit the bed twice against the Panthers offensively. Really shit the bed against the Panthers. So, I hear you, Adrian. I'm not hitting the panic alarm just yet because I still believe that's the hardest place to play in the NFL is in New Orleans.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. If anything, I think the thing that I am most excited about is how incredible the jump has been for the Eagles defending the run over the last half of the season. That's what would really give me a lot of hope if I'm an Eagles fan.
Well, I got numbers for you, too, on that. So 4.7 yards per carry on the year. Last 4 games, 2.5 yards per carry allowed. So the evidence is in the numbers.
No doubt about it. And, hey, you're playing hot. You're going to play against maybe the best run team, maybe the second best run team in the NFL. Let's put our money where our mouth is and see what happens.
There it is. All right, so just one more thing I was going to say. So this is the point I made on my show yesterday. I was like, all right, the Saints are a bad matchup for the Eagles. The quick passing game, that's kryptonite. But if there was ever a time to play the Saints, I think it's right now. So I think because of that, the Eagles actually have a chance. I think they can win this game.
Yeah, the whole fact that I think when I saw the first line open up at 9.5, I was like, I'll take the Eagles there. Like, if you're giving me 9.5, I'll take the Eagles there. They're not losing by 9.5 points. Man, this is one of those things, Adrian, where it's like basic knowledge tells me you got to stop trusting Foles at some point, right? Like basic knowledge says you have to stop trusting the backup quarterback at some point. But God, it's so hard to. I'll still take the Saints. I'll take them 31-28. I think it'll be close. But, I mean, hey, if they win, I'm just going to laugh. I'll say this. If Dallas wins early in the day, I will root so hard for the Philadelphia Eagles. Because It would make me so freaking happy to see the Cowboys lose in the NFC Championship to the Eagles. That would be the best case scenario for me as a person who's not really an Eagles fan.
Yes. Yes. I love it. All right. So actually, I do have one more thing before we depart. You like that Lamar Jackson situation in
No,
Baltimore, or are you sick
no,
of it now?
no,
You're done. You're
no.
done. No.
I think I was very honest when, if you guys go back, even like the pre-draft stuff, like I said, like he's not a first round quarterback. Like as a Ravens fan, I was fine with they took him at 32 because of the fifth year option and like the value and the expense for quarterbacks. Like I understood why they did it and I didn't have a problem that he was taking 32, but he is dog shit. I mean, even going into the game, he was 30th in QBR in the NFL. 30th in the NFL. Like the only guys below him were Ryan Tannehill and Josh Rosen. So like even before then, he wasn't getting it done. My beef I have with Lamar is you have to build an offense too for him to be successful, and I get that. Like it's
Yeah.
the same thing as Deshaun Watson. I know he's not in a situation to be successful right now. I get that. The problem is, like Deshaun Watson last year, when Lamar Jackson gets hurt and you have this custom offense for him and you go bring in your backup quarterback, it's just going to be really, really bad. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of Lamar Jackson by any means, Adrian, but I mean, I get it. Like, I understand why it's happening.
Yeah. They're not. Are they going to go back to that next year? Like play this freaking triple option offense?
I think honestly, Adrian, it kind of depends on what personnel they move. You know, they're going to have to use this offseason really to go all in and build around Lamar, which honestly I think is the right move. Like, I'm a big believer, piss or get off the pot. Like, you can't do something halfway. So I think you have to trade Joe Flacco. You have to, get as many offensive players and build a system around Lamar Jackson as you can. And you give him a year, maybe 2 years to really see what you do. And then you make a transition. But the problem is you have an NFL defense that's ready to win a Super Bowl right now. And then you have an offense who's really still trying to find an identity. That's
Yeah.
a really tough situation to be in.
Yeah, I'm just like really curious about this situation and whether or not they are really going to try to break the mold on this quarterback situation. Like what I'm trying to say is like, what if they go and like say draft like a running quarterback in the middle rounds, because you're going to need somebody if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, right? So like if you go to the backup, you need somebody that's like Lamar. I don't know if they're going to do it full time, but like if there was ever a team to try it, this is the team to do it.
I agree with you 100%, Adrian. Like, I've never understood why teams like the Panthers or the Texans or even, the Seahawks really, who have offenses so predicated about mobile quarterbacks, haven't drafted more guys in those middle rounds that they accept, hey, this is just going to be our backup quarterback. But and I'll use Baker, I think perfect situation for Cleveland, and Baltimore's in the same spot. You get to the fifth round and you kind of have filled a lot of needs and you're like, maybe we get a backup quarterback. Go draft like a Trace McSorley. Like, no, he's never going to be an NFL starter, and he maybe is just a NFL backup. But if nothing else, he's maybe a guy that can get you through a week or two of injuries, and you don't have to rebuild an entire offense because skill set. You could see Baker doing a lot of things that Trace does at Penn State, and obviously Trace is a much less version of Lamar. But if nothing else, it wouldn't be a complete rebuild 1 week of our offense for a new backup quarterback.
Because this is something I've never really told you. I've been waiting for a team to try this for a long time. Like ever since Michael Vick came into the NFL, I was like, man, maybe you can like do something like that. I know the whole thing about the injuries and stuff, but that's like the only concern is the injury. Like besides that, you can run the ball. I mean, look at what they did. That's how you keep your defense fresh. So
yeah, and I think that's a large reason when you have complementary football. You have special teams that'll get you good field position. You have defense that can pretty consistently get you 3 and outs, which is really hard in the NFL. And then you have an offense that can pretty much guarantee you 1, maybe even 2 first downs each drive.
Yeah,
like that you can win games in the NFL like that. But eventually, when you start playing the Chiefs or the Chargers, and you have to score more than 28 points,
yeah.
you can't build it.
Well, that's the problem is because they got down that game, and once you get down, you can't come back. That's the problem with that offense.
Exactly right. I mean, I know we're an Eagles thing, and I'm kind of ranting about the Ravens, but the
Okay.
Ravens only trailed since Lamar Jackson was a starter. They only trailed in 17% of their football games. They
Yeah.
never trailed more than 6 points in
Mhm.
any football game. So they never had to completely go away from their offense. Then the Chargers said, "Okay, we're going to move Derwin James, and he's going to play Mike linebacker, and he's going to be able to spy you."
Yeah.
And now you're not able to run wild on us. And the Ravens were like, we don't have an answer. So we'll see.
Should have went to Joe Flacco, maybe.
No, I
No?
like my trade assets healthy.
Okay. All right. You got anything else you want to say? You good?
That's it, man. Appreciate the time.
Well, I hope you get over the flu. I'm sorry for bringing you on amidst all the chaos there in your life and your health not being at full percent, but you got through the show somehow. So
Hey, everyone's playing hurt this late in the football
yeah.
season.
That's Brendan Albert. I'm Adrian. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed. Take care.
Appreciate it, guys.